What is going on? It's Simmer Down live from home. We're doing the video thing once again, doing good things with good people for good reasons. The Sugarshack is in the house. What is going on, boys?
We're here. Thanks for having us, Alex.
Man, you know, there is no rest for the wicked. We just got back from 311 yesterday and Emily Sheila, and now we're doing the Sugarshack thing. And I know you guys are busy, but we're going to get to that later. About a year and a half ago, the world completely shut down and live music disappeared just like that. Venues closed, tours canceled, and you guys are part of this whole thing as well. You guys are almost like a band. Tell us about your experiences during the Jamdemic.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely stopped us in our tracks, just like all the musicians we work with. Obviously, our business model is dependent on artists traveling through Florida, the state of Florida, and passing through Southwest Florida where we're at. And that all came to a halt, so did we. But we shoot so much content with each artist, individual artist, when they come see us, that we had enough content to hold us over for, I don't know, a few months, I would say, right, Jay? Right, Spencer?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, we were good for content for like 6 months, maybe like 4 to 6 months. We had enough to carry us through. And we were doing 2 releases a week, now doing 4, now that everything's back up and running. But we had enough to carry us through, and we were very lucky with that, for sure. We had to get creative at times and you know, dig up some old pieces of content that may not have been originally released and stuff like that. But I feel like everybody was itching for content. It all worked out, man. We got through it. You know, we obviously didn't shoot much at all for a couple months, but Florida was one of the first states to kind of be back up and running. So a lot of bands and a lot of tours kind of like came this way. So we jumped on any opportunity we could get. I think our first session back was Cashed Out. And I remember it being kind of weird when the band showed up. And we're like, how do we like handle this? But
yeah, we were temperature checking everyone and doing the whole thing. But yeah, kind of like what you're saying, we did take some time off, but also we were quick to get back to it, and also just working with a lot of the bands that are in Florida, for instance, like Cashed Out, some bands from Miami we had over. So we got creative and we kept it going, kept the flow going.
That's a good point. We focused on Florida artists. Like when we first came back and started ramping shoots up again, doing back deck sessions at the shack, we focused on just Florida artists that could drive to us on a day trip. So it all worked out, and we were able to showcase some of our home state talent, you know, so that was cool.
Yeah, as well as it also got us involved with New Deco Ensemble over in Miami, because they needed to live stream their shows since they weren't able to have guests come.
Yep.
So we were the video team that they hired to live stream all their shows. So that was kind of throughout the whole pandemic. So that kept us really busy as far as like the commercial side of things. So
yeah, I was just gonna say, like, we on one side of our business is the music channel, and the other side of the business is our commercial media company that's been built out of the Sugarshack Music Channel. So obviously that kind of came to a halt too, just like because the whole world stopped, right? So we invested in, you know, like a month or 2 into the pandemic, we invested heavily into live streaming and kind of applied our skills that we've built over the years, capturing live music, but in a live streaming format. So, you know, we bought all new cameras, we bought all the software, all like the whole Blackmagic suite, and kind of just took it head on. And we found a couple of clients here in Florida that trusted us with it. We really kind of fell in love with live streaming, like high production quality live streaming.
That leads me into this next one. If you guys are just tuning in, you're late. It's all right, but you're listening.
You're late.
Simmer Down. We got the Sugarshack boys, Ed, Justin, and Spence with us here. Half of the crew, I guess you could say. So great to have you guys. We're talking about the Jamdemic. I call it a Jamdemic because on our side of it, there's no music, there's no live music. And what you guys are saying, you got to always evolve. You got to keep pushing it, no matter what is thrown in your face. You got to figure it out. And one of those things is live streaming. I mean, when I was talking with Peanut from 311 the other day, we started touching on social media and just how important it was and is now in this day and age to get it right online, basically. And you guys really do a good job of that. What's the most important thing when it comes to social media and presenting yourself out there?
I would say, man, right off the bat, I think it's what separates, you know, the work we do is that attention to detail.
Yeah.
When that thing's going out, it's like it's going on the internet forever. Every little piece of content, and you got to just make sure it's dialed in, whether there's a tiny little frame that might be missing or a blip in the audio. Like there's a lot of proofing that goes on behind the scenes before we put out anything. And it shows, you know, because I'll just be scanning through, you know, and you'll see sometimes somebody puts out sponsored content and you'll see like a drop in audio and you're like, dude, there's probably so much behind all that. And like, it's out, you can't do anything about it. So
Definitely, I agree.
it's a big one.
Attention to detail and consistency is, I think, a big thing that we all push internally here, making sure we hit our posts every day and things like that. Make sure that people don't forget about you.
Right.
It's so important. Over the years, I was never really a social media person, but when you get into this business in this day and age, you have got to know what you're doing. And now it's getting even trickier with Facebook and, Instagram, Facebook buying Instagram and pretty much everything else except YouTube. Algorithms are thrown off if you're not promoting it correctly. I mean, there's so many ins and outs to this whole thing. And I've been getting to the point lately, like, I don't know what to do. And I really think, honestly, it's coming down to getting that eye-grabbing moment in the first 10 seconds, or really coming down to a still in general, like a picture that grabs somebody's eyes or something like that. That's just kind of what I've seen lately.
We definitely were doing some experimenting with Facebook as far as like uploading our content there. And we have a guy on our team who does all our analytics, and he was telling us like how long people stick around for just like the first 13 seconds and then they dip out or they stay.
Yeah.
So those first, I think it's like 13 seconds are very important to just get someone's attention.
Mhm.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, you're vying for attention among all the other things that somebody might subscribe to, YouTube's just one avenue, but Instagram, you load that thing up and you could have just posted a picture and it's all of a sudden covered up by like 40 pictures that just got posted. So it's a matter of like you're saying, that one photo or that one 10-second clip that says like, stick around, do this one, touch this one,
Yeah. We actually just learned internally yesterday that viewership on our channel is actually down a little bit since the pandemic, but our viewer retention is up. Keeping users on the YouTube platform is what YouTube likes and the algorithm likes. So it was kind of an interesting thing to learn about, through these tricky times. It was like, okay, well, people are at least sticking around and watching more of our artists, of the music and things like that. It may not be as many times, but they're sticking around for like 13, 14 minutes at a time. Cool to learn.
It is, man. It's a tough world out there. It's just not easy. And it's great to have people like you out there showing the world what not only the reggae scene, but the regional Florida scene and beyond. You're doing it right. Real quick, how can we find you guys?
Yeah, check us out. You can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/Sugarshack Music Channel, or you can always just search Sugarshack Sessions on YouTube search bar. Other than that, I would say our Instagram is probably our top place to find what we're up to, whether it's the stories or our gallery. We put a lot of intention into that. And then, all the others, Twitter's, Facebook, all the things.
Ed, we talked about this in the past a little bit, the last interview we did, but I want to dig into it further. For everybody that doesn't know, the Sugarshack is not just people behind cameras and drones. They are musicians as well. I want to hear what you guys going on, man, with Sprout. Tell everybody about the whole
it's quite the buzz right now.
The buzz of the boys behind the camera, in front of the camera.
Yeah, it's been fun, man. I play drums in the band Sprout. I've been playing with the guys for the last 2 years locally here in town, every bar, brewery, coffee shop. We just do local gigs around town on, Friday, Saturday, Sundays. Kind of feeds the soul. And it's, once Sugarshack started, I was like, I don't know if I'll ever really be in a band again. Like, this is my focus. This is where I want to be. This side of music is like, I prefer this now, because I used to be in touring bands and things like that. But I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, the lead singer, Corey, asked if I would sit in and play percussion. And then I just kind of fell in love with the band sound and vibe. And all the guys we're all in our 30s now. So, 10 years ago, when I was in a touring band, it was a lot different game, like being young in early 20s and super eager. And I don't know, it's different now. Everybody has real jobs and careers and real intentions in life right now. So being in this band is a lot different dynamic, and I love it. We just got our first big show opportunity. K-Bon brought us on at Janice, and we opened up. It was really cool, man. The crowd absolutely loved us. It was like the response was nuts. We were all blown away. For an opening slot, it was crazy. And Alex over my shoulder here, Sugarshack's audio god, he recorded he recorded our entire set, and I think we're gonna put out as a live EP. So we'll be able to kind of reminisce on that, and it'll be our debut as this band, as this lineup. Because Sprout has seen a lot of different lineups over the last, I don't know, Corey the singer, it's been his project, so he's been through a lot of musicians, but this is a really solid, kind of like a superstar lineup right now. All four guys from different bands came together, and it's cool, man. I'm excited for everybody to hear it.
What's the music like? I haven't been able to hear it. What's it like?
Yeah, it dabbles in the reggae world for sure, like the modern reggae, American reggae world, but we're definitely a heavy hitting like rock band at our core too. People say we're kind of a combo of like Incubus is always like the number one reference people say they hear is Incubus, and then it's like Incubus and Revolution would probably be like a great, I don't know, what would you guys say?
I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
I never thought of it that way, but yeah, the blend of those two bands for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of got that
Incubation.
incubation.
Ooh. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I have to change the name.
Yeah, they're a great band, and we've only gotten to see them play the acoustic and the percussion setup. So to see them full live was really awesome.
Yeah.
And it's a whole different ball game for those guys. They're really good.
Yeah. And we're playing with the idea of bringing Justin on. Justin's really good at didgeridoo and percussion himself. So
yep.
We're looking at bringing him on for some live elements too.
Yeah, we've jammed a few times. It's just a matter of I have to get a didge in every key that's possible in order to play with these guys. So but I'll get there.
That's so exciting, man. It's so important. If you're on the other side of the business like we are, you got to know how to pick up a guitar, and you got to know what music is all about. And the only way you can do that is to really play it, write it, feel it. It's a holistic full circle thing. And that's one of the reasons why you guys are also really good at what you do, I think.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it was cool. I mean, the show at Janus was sweet. I mean, Justin picked up the camera and ended up getting a one take on the fly, one of our like Sugarshack one takes. And it was really interesting to be on a drum set and be in front of the camera for a one take, because I don't know, it was cool, man. I kind of just felt it wasn't even planned. The band we were doing one takes for Cade Long and Bonita that night. So Justin already had the setup going. He's like, I was just feeling it. And just got out there and did it. And it was sick.
That was what I was going to ask you. Will there be a Sugarshack? So that's cool. So you got a little one take of it.
Yeah, I mean, we got to hit all those milestones that I feel like we hold up, every other artist too. So we'll get there.
So guys, moving on here. If you're just tuning in, you're really, really, really late, but it's okay. It's okay. Sugarshack. We got this. We got the Sugarshack boys in the house, man. And we've been talking about all kinds of good stuff. There's always something going on at the Shack. We got a couple other things that you guys have been doing. You guys have almost officially made this thing a whole full circle. You got Bryce interviewing bands now. You got a podcast going. Tell us about the Sugarshack podcast.
We got a podcast. Something that's it's kind of been a long time coming. We've dabbled in the interview world for a few years now, but it was just time to like pull the trigger on getting into the podcast space. We're not doing it with every artist, but we are doing it with select artists that may have a lot of history or a good story, or even a lot of history with us, like Pacifiers coming back to the Shack next week, and we're going to sit down and do a pod with them because we always have so much history with that band. And yeah, man, it's been fun. We finally found someone that can hold it down and really take that role serious and really crush it. A host that we can really trust with a brand like that we built, right? So we definitely wanted a kind of like an outsider perspective on the podcast rather than being one of us. And so far it's been great. Bryce is crushing it, man. We have 4 episodes in the bag on the channel, and we got the 5th one lined up, and we got Mayday coming up as our next podcast release, and then Pacifier.
I'm loving this setup. You kind of do it on the porch, but you kind of have it like podcast. It's like interview, like talk show style. It's, it's just beautiful. I'm loving it. I love that little stranger one. Every time you talk to those guys, it's going to be one of those moments. I think it was trying to take your shirt off or something. What was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was wild. So what we got? We got 4 of them now, Ed?
We got 4 now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Slowly but surely we're building that pillar,
Yep. And I think that was not the final thing, but that was one of the big squares or one of the big parts of the Sugarshack circle that I think you guys really needed to do, because I've seen it in the past. I think you did it with Giant Panda at a different location. There was a little interview thing, but now you got this thing really cooking. So everybody out there, check out the Sugarshack podcast. So you can check it out at
all the things, all the podcast platforms, wherever you listen, we're on there.
We got video on YouTube as well. Yeah.
Yep. And then we have the video version on our channel, which is great.
Absolutely. Check it out, man. You guys got some coffee too. Tell us about the coffee. I was talking with Emily Sheila about that the other day. We got to try that.
Tell them, Spence.
Oh man, coffee it's a full-bodied roast, medium roast.
Yep.
It's we call it a crowd pleaser. because when we were talking with our guy Caleb that's at Narrative, I mean, he's a scientist with the stuff, so he knows every single type, where you should get it from if you want this.
Yeah.
So he brought a few different tastes to us, and we all settled on one that he ended up kind of naming it, the crowd pleaser, because even if you don't really like coffee, if you drink this, it's like, it's not going to be this fruity out of nowhere flavor or something that's maybe too bold. It's like a perfect just chill and hang out with some friends. I think everybody would enjoy it type coffee.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's funny because going into the whole coffee realm, I mean, we all drank coffee, but we weren't anything, but like we weren't connoisseurs of it like people are these days. And getting in with those guys and partnering up with them, it was really nice for all of us, because now, I mean, we can't go to Starbucks anymore. We're all like, we know they all just burn their coffee. They don't roast it, they burn it, and they flavor it all up. Whereas this guy, he gets those notes, he cooks it to the right temperature for the right amount of time, so that every time you pour it, it's a good cup of coffee.
It's crazy good.
Yeah, it's an experience more so than it is just a cup of coffee.
Oh yeah,
to be honest.
Is this available at sugarshacksessions.com, or is it just something that is just when you guys are down there? Oh, excellent. So if you guys want the Sugar Shack coffee, you want to wake up with the Sugar Shack, check it out, sugarshacksessions.com. Guys, we're going to move on. We're going to go a little deeper here.
I like it.
Everybody, when it starts, every Sugar Shack, everybody knows this. Where did the jingle come from?
Oh, geez. Okay. So
Can you do that one more time?
Let's
hear it one more time.
That'll do. Yeah. So I think it was episode 1. I was doing the edit on episode 1, the Sweet Teas, a local female artist here out of Naples. I just felt inspired. I wanted Sugar Shack Sessions to be almost like a TV show kind of vibe. Like you're tuning into a show, right? Rather than just like your regular old YouTube video. But it needed to be something short and sweet, kind of like our podcast jingle. It's like 9 seconds long. So I picked up my guitar in my office. I was just finishing up the edit, and I played C, D, and G. The only 3 chords I know as a drummer. And I recorded it on my iPhone and made sure it wasn't clipping, and I put it in the editor and then sent it to the guys and was like, hey, that sounds cool. And it's literally the same recording now. Like Alex won't let me re-record it or let anybody re-record it. Like it's like the same crappy iPhone recording.
Wow.
That was recorded 8 years ago. So it's pretty neat. We walk up to like Revolution's sound check, and Eric will strum it at us. It's become a thing.
It always sounds so much better than the version we have.
Yeah.
Like everybody who does it, it's like, can we record that one now?
Yeah, it's cool, man. It gets in your head, I suppose. It's nice and easy. Keep it simple,
Well, yeah, and that's nice and easy. Keep it simple, and that's simplicity rules, man. It really does. And you guys have these simple symbols and sounds that happen that people always know. You got Nomeo, you got the jingle, you've got that porch, and that just is so important. It's just anybody out there that's really trying to do something and make something out of it, have something like that. That's them. That is them, that. So that's cool. I never knew that. I know we talked about Nomeo. Everybody knows about Nomeo. And, who broke it and all that good stuff.
Yeah. That was me.
Yes. I love it. Turn them sunglasses upside down.
Put them in your hands so you really see how
It is small, bro.
he's a little.
It's so cool.
So we're getting little 3D renditions of them. So those will be available soon.
Reggae Rise Up. First place they'll be for sale.
Oh, okay. Check it out. Reggae Rise Up coming up here. Wait, in October, is that right?
Yep, October 21st.
Yeah, you guys are gonna be down there crushing that. Oh man, that's right on your doorstep right there.
Yeah,
We're excited.
So guys, we got a few more questions. It's been great chatting with you. We're gonna get a little deeper now, believe it or not. We're gonna get a little deeper. We know what the jingle is all about. I was really excited about that. I was like, what in the hell where did that come from? That's so cool that you had that recording on your iPhone, and it's still going to this day. That's so cool. It sounds amazing. I would never know. It's so cool. A few more questions here. Me and Blue were hanging out with Emily Sheila the other day, and
That's awesome, man.
That's too cool.
dude, that voice that
Phew.
voice
Oh, yeah.
just pulled us in. You know, I have in my, I don't know how many years of doing this, I have not heard a voice like that, and a talent and a spirit, you know. And you guys go with, you know, regional artists that, and maybe some artists that are relatively unknown that people haven't necessarily heard of. What draws you to an artist?
Ooh, so many things.
I think it's always different. It's always something different because I mean, there's, you know, there's all of us. So we all bring them from different places. When, you know, Ed will be doing some research on something and kind of shoot it to all of us and vice versa. And I think it's just a matter of, you know, culmination of all of our likes in
Yeah.
music, you know, where we've all come from. I mean, I know I listen to a completely different stuff than Eddie. Like I'm stuck in the 90s half the time, and and this guy's always finding new music. So I think we just got to get in one of our heads to find out what it is that really brings a band to the front and center, because
Yeah.
we all eventually agree on the band. So it's I guess it's just a culmination of all these heads and where we've come from in our own musical backgrounds, and you know what we get attracted to, I guess.
As well as just like stuff that we don't know we would, you know, necessarily be our type of music. We just, you know, sometimes I'm surprised by the bands that come. It's like, this is my new favorite jam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And never in a million years, unless it was for what I do, would I come across those artists. So sometimes, you know, it's things that we look for, and other times it's things that will pop up and I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And it
We
just comes
definitely
out
take
of nowhere.
chances on artists for sure, because, you know, it takes a lot of resources to bring a session to life for the 5, 6, 7 of us.
Mhm.
So we take chances on artists that, you know, we listen to on Spotify. We'll look at live videos on YouTube and make that judgment call for sure, the best we can.
Yeah.
Because we get a lot of inquiries, man. Like we have a really cool band coming from LA on Monday that I'm actually really excited about. Animal Sun will be here. You know, like an indie rock band. They came, you know, we've been dabbling in the indie rock space for a couple of years now with Flip Turn and the Hales and Polar Boys, and we have a handful of indie artists now. And this one came down the pipeline, and they're a really cool band, man. I think they're really gonna like their stuff is very electronic. If you were to listen on their Spotify and all their studio stuff, so that always just is cool to see how that translates to acoustic. That'll bring a different side of that band, a different dynamic that I think doesn't exist yet.
So what Animal, what was the name? Everybody out there, you better remember this one.
Animal
Check it out.
Sun, S-U-N.
Animal Sun. I'll bet you.
Yeah.
Ed said it. He said, you guys better check it out. Animal Sun coming up on the Sugarshack pretty soon. Another banger. That's really cool, man. You know, it's got to be tough for you guys because you don't have to hurt feelings, you know, but you guys get so many requests, I'm sure, that you can't have everyone, you know.
So many hours in the day.
There's a few bands in my inbox right now that they say no to.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, it's a tough part of the job for sure. You know, we tell artists, you know, grow a little bit and come back, you know, maybe next tour when you're in Florida, maybe. It's hard to take them all on.
I mean, yeah, there was a time I can still remember having the months where we would have, I think we had like 6 sessions in 1 month or something, where it felt like we might as well have been touring, you know, we might as well have been not even home because we were at the shack so much.
Yeah.
Because for setup, takedown, that's just part of it. There's, you know, there's hauling everything from storage. There's a lot, like it doesn't all stay at the shack. It all gets built up for every single session we do. And sometimes we'll have 2 bands a day just so that we can actually make use of, you know, them being there. Like we don't have the ability for them to be there any other time. So we schedule 2 bands together. And those were some tough days, especially if it's a summertime, you know, and you're in the middle of the day and the sun's just relentless. And
Yeah.
and the bands, you know, we want the best possible experience for the band. So if we're all heated up and they're all heated up, you know, it's just not going to make for a good session on camera. And so it's just a matter of, you know, giving each band who does get on the stage their time to shine. And that comes with, you know, time restraints because of it, you know.
Yeah, for people who don't know, like we are literally outside. I've had friends in the past when we first started, they thought we were green screening our sessions and we were in studio space. Like every time we set up, we have to strip down every light, every cable. It's all set up person. So there's so many times that we had to like reset it up. So it's not just like it's always ready to go.
Yeah.
It's a unique space, and we are dealing with elements of Florida. So rain, heat, just all that comes with it. There's a
Swamp.
lot of obstacles in our way. So
The neighbors mowing their damn grass.
Garbage trucks.
I just had the same thing right here. Yeah. You know what, boys? That is a perfect segue into the second to last question here. What do you do when something doesn't work and it's got to happen? When problems arise, what do you do?
It just happened last week, man. We got rained out when K-Bong showed up. It was a mess for like an hour, waiting on, watching weather radars. Like going inside is kind of our last resort, taking it inside the house. Outside under the lights is really where the magic happens and where like that all has come to life. So we got rained out. Luckily, that whole like K-Bong camp was super laid back and they worked with us on that and ended up being incredible inside. Little Stranger, I think or Emily Sheila was actually the last one we did inside.
Mhm.
It still was a great time. Everything was set up outside and then it started pouring. So everything's tarped and covered and everybody's kind of hanging out under umbrellas and under pop-up tents and stuff like that. So, it gets a little sketchy, but ultimately we made the call, took it inside. We had to just like Spence and Justin were just saying, like redo every cable, redo every light, and while the band is there waiting for us, because typically we have everything set up when the band shows. It's like, hey dude, let's load in and let's have a beer and then we'll get started. We had to start from scratch while the band is kind of sitting over our shoulders. So it gets a little stressful, but we pulled it off. The team at this point is dialed, really streamlined, and everybody kind of knows what needs to happen. And we made it happen. It was cool, but it gets stressful, man. The weather gets a little stressful, especially, we're taking chances doing summer sessions here.
Yeah. And I mean, thankfully too, couldn't have been a more like forgiving artist. Like K-Bong was like, oh, we're going inside. Sweet. Let's do this.
Oh yeah.
He was game for whatever we're down to do. And I mean, honestly, there's no way to really argue when you're staring up and it's just a big gray sky and it's just pouring down, you can't set it up. So they understand. And sometimes, those end up being those, that we call them the rainstorm edition or the thunderstorm editions, but those usually only happen because it's either something really loud happening nonstop outside or downfall. Yeah.
Problems are always going to happen. I mean, and especially in this business. I mean, there is just chaos everywhere around every corner. You got to figure it out, and you guys are really good at keeping it really cool at all times. It's so important. I just wanted to touch on that because, people think that set up and just, oh, easy, no big deal. No, it's not. It's not. It's not. So guys, we got one last question here for you, and it's going to be for each of you. It has been an absolute blast talking to you guys once again. Just tell everybody real quick where you can find everything, the coffee, the new podcast, everything you got going on, and then we'll get to this last question.
Cool. Yeah. Everything we do, you can find at youtube.com/Sugarshack Music Channel. And then you can find our retail store, online storefront at sugarshacksessions.com. Clothes, hats, coffee, soon to be little Nomeo figurines, everything else that we do, sticker packs, we got it all.
You guys don't know about these guys. You're late. Sugar Shack. Sugar Shack. All right, guys.
Just go to Google and type in Sugar Shacks. Even Sugar Shack alone, you'll probably see us pop up there.
It does. You guys have officially made it. All right. So each of you is going to answer this question for me. All right. It's been a pleasure. I love you guys. I do. So you guys are artists. That's what we do. It's all art. Okay. And when you look into a camera, there's your art. What do you see or want to see when you look into a camera? We'll start with Spence.
Well, honestly, it's pretty simple, but I guess it just takes you like looking through a camera first to understand it. But I see just like, sounds funny. It's like infinite angles. You could be looking with your own eyes at something and it's just kind of bare bones and it's flat and it's just there 2D. But when you look through a camera lens, you're all of a sudden like, you're getting a different angle, whether you're using all the different focal ranges and all that stuff. It just opens up a different world from the same position you were just standing in. So it's almost like, I guess I'd just say, I'd see infinite possibilities and views of the same object that's sitting right in front of you, maybe mundane, but look at it from another angle and it's, wow, special.
Okay, we'll go to Justin.
Interesting question. Yeah, when I'm looking through camera, just kind of wait for lights to pop off, things that are colorful, composition, always looking for what's the best composition for that specific shot. I guess kind of just like the action, you see something that catches your eye. That's where you end up pointing your camera, It's all about that action.
And Ed, close it out.
Great answers, boys. Composition was on my mind for sure, but I think authenticity is probably big for me. When I'm looking through a lens, I want to capture something that the viewer's actually going to feel. And I think when someone's authentic on camera, that's when it really shines through. And that's something that we really take serious with Sugarshack, is like we make sure our artists are comfy and the hospitality is there, and that it's a high production situation. The artist is sitting in front of a lot of cameras and a lot of microphones. So we try to make them feel comfortable, and I want, we all try to make it as authentic, that performance is as authentic as possible. So I think that's what I look for, that organic, authentic performance, and that the artist is really shining the way they want to be portrayed.
Good answer, Ed.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Thanks.
I like that.
Authenticity, action, and angles. The 3 A's.
Boom, baby. That's
Triple
it.
A for Sugarshack.
And speaking of angles, we do have one more thing to plug real quick, Crowley, if it's cool.
Yeah.
We are in beta test right now we're going to start doing 360 sessions. We're still kind of experimenting with it, but you can see if you're watching video, Alex right now is testing maybe one of them, or he's playing a game. I'm not sure what he's doing on that thing, but we kind of got into this whole 360 world. So now we have like a 360 camera that we've been using for the past 6 months or so. Basically, you'll be able to sit in front of Eddie's camera and be in the session environment and see it all go down.
Yeah, it's cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Sessions. Virtual reality sessions.
Next time we run into you, we're going to pop on the Oculus and you'll get to try it out.
Yeah.
Sounds good, boys. We'll see you very soon. Thank you guys so much. It's the Sugarshack session. Hey, Blue, come here, Blue. Come get in the picture. Couldn't do it without this boy right here.
My boy Blue.
Oh,
Hey, we'll see you guys soon. All right, peace and love.
All right,
Yeah.
see
Of
you guys.
course, aliens everywhere. See you guys.